My name is Ashley, and this is Let's Talk Dispatch.
I do. You're gonna do it. Do it really well.
And I believe the world needs more dispatchers.
Around in the mud, blood, and beer.
Years that I'm not working 4th of July. 4th of July.
Saying community policing, right? What about community dispatch?
So on this show, with the help of my guests, we will educate, empower, and support the heroes behind the headset. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode here on Let's Talk Dispatch with me, Ashley, the Raspy Dispatcher. I'm super excited. If you don't know, I'm going to be doing my first closing keynote out in Kansas for their state training. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to meet different folks who are dispatching in different places. You know, dispatching in California, I would imagine, is much different than dispatching in Kansas. So if you are able to get to a conference, whether you have to travel for it, or if you're just getting involved with your local conference, your local chapters, it's such a rewarding opportunity to connect with people, learn from each other, and kind of get a glimpse at how everyone is doing this thing that we are all doing with the same purpose, but all doing a little differently. So definitely check out your local chapters, Nina, APCO, see what that local state training is looked like, when it is, and if you're able to, ask your department to pay for it first. But if you're able to swing it on your own as well, if your department's not able to put funding together to get you there, it is a wonderful chance to connect with people and be able to learn from one another. So check them out whenever you get the opportunity. Speaking of being able to go to conferences and being able to go see and meet you folks, that is all a part of thanking our partners, our sponsors. They are a big reason that we're able to continue to create resources and travel to these conferences. So let's take a moment to thank them. Today's episode of Let's Talk Dispatch is proudly sponsored by Prepared. Their mission is to be public safety's most assistive technology. Revolutionizing how we handle emergencies, Prepared is dedicated to saving more lives and making our communities safer. Learn more about how Prepared is transforming emergency response at prepared911.com. Our next sponsor is Zybex Media. Since 2020, Zybex has been creating impactful recruitment films for their customers. Zybex Media offers their expertise, providing a full range of media solutions designed to attract and retain talent for all PSAPs. Visit zybex.com/media to learn more. These partnerships help us continue to spread the message that the world needs more dispatchers. Interested in partnering with us? Head to theraspydispatcher.com. Like that said, if you are interested in partnering with us, head to theraspydispatcher.com, fill out a little form, and let's see if we can connect. Again, thank you so much to our partners, our sponsors. They are a big help in making sure we can continue to spread this message that the world needs more dispatchers. So for today's guests, we are thrilled to have Maribel, the 911 Public Education Coordinator for the RGV911 District. They play a crucial role in public safety by organizing training sessions, monitoring progress at dispatch centers, and they are also the mastermind behind the impactful Teach 911 program, which educates students on the proper use of 911 services. Our guest today, Maribel. Hi there.
Hi.
How are you?
We're doing great. Busy, doing what we love.
That's amazing. So you reached out through email, and then I, of course, shamelessly plugged well, let's talk about that on the podcast because your experience is wonderful, and what you're doing, which we'll get into a little later, it's so impactful, right?
Correct, yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into public safety.
I got into public safety. Actually, I started as front desk, as a temp. I started front desk. I really enjoyed it. We are a district, and we service 2 counties. There's 3 divisions within our district, which is our GIS team, who does the mapping for the rural areas of both counties. So we put them in the map for responders to locate them faster. And then our IT team, they service and give trainings to our dispatchers for both counties. We currently have 230 dispatchers in 16 PSAPs.
Jeez, that is a lot of dispatchers and a lot of setups. So that's wonderful. So you started kind of like admin and then kind of worked into the side of things.
They reached out like, hey, would you be interested in public education? Of course. Did I know what I was getting myself into? No. Do I love it? Yes.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, tell us a little bit more about your role as a 911 public education coordinator.
Our goal is to educate anything new in 911, teach the community. Together we can save lives. We go out to national night outs, any event that they invite us through our website, RGV911.org. They reach out, we go out, they let us know what type of event, who we're going to target, schools, just in general, the community. And we go out and teach them about Carey's Law, the importance of addressing, getting their address registered, texting to 911, and pocket dials, anything that can help us get that service faster. One of the biggest events that we have is our public safety wellness seminar. And this is completely free for all public safety. And we have it every September. And this we bring, mental health is very important in public safety. And sometimes I feel it's not targeted as much as we should.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. It's definitely one of those topics that come up quite frequently with folks I talk to on this podcast and organizations, businesses that are targeting first responders. It's definitely wellness heavy because for so long we haven't discussed it or acknowledged it or given a place for folks.
We try to keep across, it's okay not to be okay. And we need to talk about it. So that's something that we target every September. Of course, we should do it more often. But in September, we have this seminar, and this is going to be our second one in this coming September. And that's how I reached out to you the first time.
Awesome.
But another great program that we have, and which is my favorite, is the Teach Me 911 program. That's the one where we go to elementaries, middle schools, and high schools, and we teach them what's considered an emergency call, what is not, and then when to call, how to call, what to say, and then we integrate the texting 911. For elementary, we get into a character. We have Cell Phone Sally and Kid Friendly Kid, and I myself get into character. I put nice overalls on, a wig. We go out. We have our DJ who puts the music so we can intro and dance with the kids before we get to the educational part. His DJ safety, and that's how we start for the elementaries. It's like a 45-minute program. And then we do give them a 911 activity coloring book that teaches them as well. Stay on the line, answer all your questions, and how to text, and to stay calm in emergencies.
Yeah. And it's so impactful being able to go into the schools from elementary and up, because the reality is, these are going to be our future 911 callers, right? And we're now dealing with folks who were in elementary school when, we were younger kids. And I think as folks who answer 911 see the lack of education when people call 911 with it's not an emergency, but, or, calling in something that doesn't need to be on 911. And that can be super frustrating for the 911.
It is. And as one of my goals for this coming year is to visit our PSAPs, the day shift and the night shift. Talk to them. Hey, what more can we do to help you out? I do want to start a newsletter for them. There's a lot of proud moments as a dispatcher. There's dispatchers, putting their kids through college while they're dispatching. There are dispatchers that are going through college, putting themselves through college.
Heck yeah.
I want to recognize them for those proud moments in their life. Interview them, talk to them, let them. I'm really familiar with them, so they know. I always tell them, "Oh, these are my babies," and they know, "Oh, Miss Pabette." But there's a lot of programs. I always feel, and I tell everybody, 911 is for everybody, and together we can save lives.
Yeah, 1,000%. And another thing that I think is tremendous about getting into education, educating on 911 early, not only for the sake of my stress at work, but for the sake of the industry, right? Is if
Yes.
folks are introduced to this being a thing sooner, they can consider it as a career as they are growing up.
Right. We go out to middle schools and high schools, and we do talk up the correct way to dial 911, what to say, what not to say, what considered an emergency call, what is not. But we also have career days for them. So our IT team, they have demos on exactly what they do in the PSAPs to let them know there is careers in IT for 911. And then we have our GIS team, who we take a big TV, we let the kids hands-on training, enter their address, does it populate on the map, the layers of the map, how we come about to get that a 911 address. So that's telling the kids, hey, GIS, there's work in GIS for 911.
Yeah. I actually just had this conversation with a friend of mine that I reconnected with. We played basketball in college together, and I found out they went into IT, and they're kind of in this in-between moment where they were working here, now they're working here, and so on. And I was like, dude, you got to check out this 911 tech. Like, there is so, like, it's booming right now. Like, the way software is developing and how we're trying to catch up, as far as 911, our systems and things I don't understand, being able to operate the same way our phones do, because we're behind, right? We're behind.
I mean, every time we go out to an event, and I've been doing it for 3 years already. When I bring up texting 911, we didn't know we can text 911. Yeah. We can. And now with AI coming in, there's more that we can do for 911 with 911 and our dispatchers.
Yeah. No, really. And what would you say the education or the knowingness when you're going into these settings? Like, do you think like these kids have no knowledge, they have a little knowledge, or they have more knowledge than you expect on 911? What does that look like?
You have the variety. You have the age difference. When we have the first through second, there's a little bit of knowledge that besides the dial 911. Then we have the third through fourth, fifth, which they already know, what is a 911 call. But their knowledge expands. The way they treat technology it amazes me because they are so advanced. But what some of them don't know, and what we try to teach is if there's a line for your tablet, your laptop, then you can dial to 911. You can dial 911 from there. And in every way possible that we can teach, we'll bring it out to them.
Yeah,
because it is important.
It's true. I think text 911 was implemented at my center when I first, like the first year that I started. So about 2018, it got implemented into my center, which is Sacramento Police Department. We're a pretty big, municipal department. And I remember being amazed back then that this technology was happening. And now 2024, how frequent I actually get a text 911 is so low. It's so minimal that I believe it has to be because people are not aware of it. We as departments are not talking about it enough as an option and how to communicate through that way of reporting something, right?
And it's here in our district, we service 23 school districts. So there's a lot to be done. We also recently started working with VAIL and capable kids with disabilities. And this texting to 911 is great for them. Yeah. It's something that we talk to the parents about. I know there's 2 phone carriers that actually have a phone. It's a cell phone. It's a little bit bigger, but it has Braille on it. So texting to 911 is something really important that I implement, in every event that I have.
Yeah, it's accessible, it's inclusive, the ability to translate is there. So
Mhm.
for folks who, you know, English is not their first language or not their preferred
Right.
language, they can text in their language and it'll
And,
tell me as
correct.
a dispatcher, this was said in Spanish, but it'll translate it in English, and then I can text back in English and it'll translate to Spanish. So, you know, those things are so important for folks to feel
Yes. And with
comfortable.
even with the foreign exchange students from
Mhm.
Japan, from Mexico,
Yeah.
it's important. They're going to text in their language.
Mhm, mhm. And it's true because, you know, someone wants to report something, the quicker we have translating services, we have third party where someone can jump on and help us communicate, but that takes time, right? Like,
Yes.
so,
Mhm.
and if you're in an emergency, seconds feels like hours, and if you're trying to get the info, seconds feels like hours, and
Yes.
seconds saves lives. So anything that we can use to speed up this communication process is only going to be beneficial to the call takers, the folks who are calling, and the first
Right.
responders, you know, who are going in boots on the ground.
Correct. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes.
So how does this program work? You know, when you go into the school, obviously you evaluate for what age you're going to be
Correct.
working with,
Mhm.
and you've kind of adapted for each age group. So maybe we could just kind of do a brief example for kind of each age group what you guys are tailoring to.
Sure. For elementary, they usually send the invite. We go, we set up, we take our costumes, we have our DJ safety, we have a video that we show them of Cell Phone Sally,
Mhm.
letting them know what type of phones there's out there, from landlines to the cordless phone to the
Mhm.
cell phone. How to do that call, how
Mhm.
to call, when to call, how to call, and what to say.
Mhm.
And for middle schools, we do the same thing. We don't get into character. They don't want to see us anymore. They don't want to see. They're grown up, but we have the PowerPoint of
Mhm.
scenarios
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
what can happen in an emergency. Look at your surroundings. Always start with where you're located. If you don't know the address, look at the signs. There's a
Mhm.
McDonald's, and there's in the corner, there's a specific store,
Yeah.
and to help that dispatcher locate you,
Mhm.
faster. Uh,
Mhm.
and the same thing with the high school. And in
Mhm.
the high school, we'll ask them. They're the ones that have more questions, and then
Mhm.
they'll lead to the career day, but they're the ones that have more questions. I'm like, we didn't know we could do that. Yes, stay on the line, stay calm,
Mhm.
answer the questions, and be clear. Because
Mhm.
I know when I panic, I'm not really clear.
It's true. And it's one of those things that I've been making like a bunch of reels this week, like educational stuff.
Mhm.
And the why, like a lot of people love to lead with the why. Like, you know, 20 years ago, I met Jimmy and Jimmy took money from me back then and now he's here. And it's like, okay, hold on.
Yes.
You know, the why, we can get to the why later. I need to know what, like what's happening now, what
Mhm.
made you pick up the phone, and just kind of getting someone to rewire their brain before the emergency happens, right? Because in it, it's hard to redirect. It's harder to redirect without education before. But if you just sit there, you just answer my question, we can get to the why part
Mhm.
last. Like I can listen to why all day at the end until someone
Yes.
arrives.
And it's
But
always stay calm and answer the questions. Stay
yeah,
calm, answer the questions. So,
and the questions don't slow anything down,
mhm.
people. I promise you.
Yes. And we always make sure we tell them in our head, there's an emergency, and we feel like everything's moving super slow.
Mhm,
The questions are not going to slow you down.
mhm,
They just want to know as much information as possible to
mhm.
get the help there and to help you out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think the biggest challenges that you faced in creating this program and reaching the youth? Because it's not simple. I coached high school, I coached kids. They are tough, you know?
It is tough. I think calming them down the first 5 minutes,
Mhm,
like calm down, calm down. We get them hyped so they'll know that we're going to have fun. It's not going to be the same,
mhm,
same, same. That's why with elementary we get into character. I do
mhm.
notice that if I stand on my regular clothes and talk to them about 911, it could go in through one ear and it could go out through the other one. But if I get into character, with a lady with the blue wig said that this is what you do in a 911 emergency.
Mm,
But I think the biggest obstacle is trying to calm them down.
mhm.
So we promise them, calm down. We're going to teach you fun stuff. And then at the end, we're going to hype up and dance again, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Because that's all we do on 911. We hype up and dance, I tell you. Well, is this program something, let's say, like another state can adapt? Is this something that someone can reach out and connect with
Oh,
you to
sure.
try to build?
I am part of the Texas 911 public education coordinators. So we meet quarterly, and that's just Texas. We meet quarterly and we share our ideas. We share ideas. We just met last week. So I bring some ideas, I share my ideas, and it's just to make 911 better. The education part better for everyone.
Yeah. I definitely think education has been just so lacking in 911. I mean, we prepare for fires, we prepare for earthquakes here in California. I don't know if anyone prepares for tornadoes or twisters, but let me tell you, when I went to school in Iowa, we had tornado weather and I was not prepared. So
yeah, we prepare for hurricanes.
Yeah.
So we make sure we have educational information on hurricanes.
Right? So we do all this preparation for all of the things, but we don't do a lot of preparation or education around contacting the folks when the thing happens.
And going back to if somebody from another state wants to teach the 911 program, whenever we go to APCO, whenever we go to NINA, and we meet other public educators, because not everybody does public education. I do public education only, and then bring down trainings. But I've met other public educators that they're dispatchers, and they're the public educator for their dispatch, for their center. So, but whenever we go to, NINA, APCO, we share information, our cards. I'll send you this, I'll send you that. That's the great part about being public education, that you get to share.
Yeah. And it's funny that you said that, because I actually had someone on last week. It hasn't been published yet. By the time I'm listening to this, it'll be out there, but it's going out this week. But it was a firefighter who he was originally going to be a neuroscientist, a neuro doctor, something like that. And he went to a class that was offered at the junior college, and it was a firefighter that was doing like special assignment, teaching CPR, probably something that they got through their work, which is probably very similar to this 911 education. You sign up for it, you go do it, you reach folks. But it's so impactful that he says, like, I owe my career. I met this person. They're a firefighter. They were so cool. They taught me so much cool stuff that I changed my career. My career shifted. I went from wanting to do this to wanting to do this, and became a firefighter.
Right.
And, I think, without knowing, you guys are doing that. You're impacting people. It was like, I remember the lady in the blue wig when I was a kid talked about 911, and now I'm trying to figure out my life, and I'm thinking about doing that, So you guys are impacting people, I'm sure, that you don't even realize.
And I always say, if we go out and we talk to 300 people, and if 3 of them registered their address, my job's done. If 3 of them learn how to text to 911, that we save lives right there.
Yeah. No, it is so true. And for folks who are listening and who are in their centers and that, are kind of burnt out and like, what else can I do to impact my community and promote what I'm doing? Like, educating the youth is definitely something that you can pitch to your center and see if there's a way that you can impact and implement these type of trainings.
We do. We also, the here down where we're from, it's the Valley, South Texas, Rio Grande Valley. The schools invite us to their night school with the parents, and these are bilingual classes. On some days they teach them read, write, English, but they have a session for educational people to come in and talk, what we offer. So when we go out, we always make sure that we also teach them as parents about registering their address. Some of these people live outside city limits. We only do the rural areas of both counties. And if you live inside, you might know somebody that lives outside city limits. So we integrate everything that we do in every event that we go to.
Mm-hmm.
The Head Start also invites us so we can talk to the parents.
Yeah, no, and the parents having the knowledge, just it goes down to the kids, right?
Yes.
And I think you made a great point about knowing who services you, because I think we get that quite often. Like where I work, well, they're like, I live in this city, and I'm like, well, the county actually is
Right.
who your provider is, and it's kind of hard for folks to understand that. But if you do the work early, then and know who your provider is and have that information in your system,
Yes.
emergency numbers, etc., when you don't have to call 911, then it's
We give everybody the option to, what we tell them, you can download the GIS map app to your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So when you download that app and you enter an address, it'll tell you who services you, from fire to EMS to PD or sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a great app to have, because when we do the addressing, it takes 24 hours to appear in our 911 GIS map, not Google. So if you use Google, it might not appear there. So it's important. We let them know, download the app, and you'll get there faster yourself,
Yeah. And is that an app that's specific to your guys' area that you guys are filling up? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And, I think when you're talking to kids specifically, they love tech, like phones, tech, anything you can show, I think, a youth on their phone that benefits them, they're going to dive into it,
Yes.
So the fact that you guys have tech, have answers, and then they share it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so cool. It's so cool.
And they remember you. They'll see me out in the stores at the mall, like, Miss, where's your wig?
you just have Sally in the car.
Where's your wig?
So cool. Well, if folks wanted to reach out, wanted to learn more about this program, the system, how could they find out more about it? Where could they go?
RGV911.org. That's our website. All our events there, our GIS information there, our IT, myself, they can navigate it. That's RGV911.org.
RGV911. Awesome. And I'll put all that information in the description, so no need to write it down here. But I love what you guys are doing. I love learning about different ways to educate people, especially kids, because they're a little harder to read. And I think kids have access to so much more information than we had, growing up. Even me, I remember in high school, Facebook blew up. Like, that's when it kind of just started. And I graduated in 2008. So, like, being 2024 and all these social media avenues that are available for folks, for kids, it's just exponential. And we need to get info out there for them to consume about this as well.
Most definitely, yes.
Awesome. Well, what advice would you give someone who is considering a career in public safety in general?
In general, having that, so I just do the public education, but knowing that what I do saves lives makes me feel good. So whether you're a dispatcher, whether you want to be a policeman, dispatcher, firefighter, that feeling at the end of the day is a good feeling, and to me, it means a lot. And you do make a difference every day just going into public safety.
Amazing. Well, Maribel, thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you for having me
and sharing this awesome program you guys got going on.
Yes.
I'm excited to tell everyone about it, and hopefully get these into as many schools, as many areas as possible.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Awesome. I'll be right back with you. All right, everybody, that was another great episode here on Let's Talk Dispatch. Education in 911 is so important. And the fact that Maribel is going into the schools from elementary up, teaching the youth about the proper use of 911, and the fact that 911 exists as a career, as a valuable part of public safety, is going to have such a big impact for this industry moving forward. So we're going to include all the information for them in the description of this podcast so you can check them out and maybe implement some education into your local community in your department. Until next time, everybody, stay raspy. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Dispatch podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, or maybe even submitting your own story, you can do all that and more at theraspydispatcher.com. Until next time, stay raspy.